Now today's Sports Conclave is a very unique one. Because at News we like to create such events which are very personalized, where we bring in a prominent person from the government to come and try and make us understand policies a little better. Today we've chosen the topic of sports, especially grassroots level. What is it that we can do to make it easier for us to find talent at the grassroots, encourage them, hone this talent, and maybe even have more wins in the Olympics and other international platforms. So I'd like to quote Muhammad Ali, well, because he was the greatest and we had a huge loss very recently. He said, "It isn't the mountains ahead to climb that wear you out. It's the pebble in the shoe." Now my understanding of this as a journalist, of course, is that this pebble in the shoe comes in forms of obstacles that might be in the way of a sports person. Now this obstacle, when you come from the grassroots, might be a little more. But the government itself has taken huge strides in trying to find the right kind of talent. They're trying to find people who otherwise may not have had access to sports facilities and have made it available to these very bright, talented, deserving individuals. But at the same time, a lot needs to be done. After all, we are a country with a huge population. I'm pretty sure that 6 Olympic medals is what we won in 2012 in London. I'm pretty sure all of us here believe that we can definitely do better than that. So the Sports Conclave today, we're going to try to brainstorm and talk about several things which might come up. And we're very, very honored to have with us the Sports Secretary, Mr. Rajiv Yadav, who has kindly agreed to come here, take our questions, tell us a little bit about what the government is doing, and try to help us understand how we can do this, how we can invigorate the sports sector.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was said a little while ago that ours is a country with huge population. It's not only huge population, it's huge youth population. So we have about 65% people in the age group of 15 to 40, which is the right group for the sport persons. And keeping that in mind, certainly our medal hauls have been much less, whether it's in Olympics or in other international competitions. We can say that sometimes it's said that it's lack of a sporting culture, which is not uniformly spread all over the country. Some states have a very good sporting culture in India. Some other states somehow followed the earlier dictum that was in the colonial period, and especially so in the North India, that पढ़ोगे लिखोगे तो बनोगे नवाब, खेलोगे कूदोगे तो होगे खराब. So that was the kind of thing that was told in the schools, and generally the sport was looked down upon because it was thought that there is no further avenues, after you have played at the school level or in the university, what will you do after that? That scene is changing gradually. It is partly changing because of the efforts of the government, but more so as the society develops, as our economy develops, and every other sector develops, so also the sports sector develops. So it's a telltale sign of a emerging nation, emerging market, emerging economy. Among various sports, we play most of the sports. We have federations of, you name all the sport federations are in India. 63 are major federations which are recognized by the ministry. But there are certain sports which are more popular than others. Cricket takes the cake, of course, and is played throughout India and every nook and corner of India, followed by maybe soccer, football, and our homegrown kabaddi, maybe the third one after that, or hockey and kabaddi, maybe in the same league. And then there are others like Kho-Kho, which is a homegrown sport again. And then there are exotic sports like polo, which very few of us know. And even I didn't know till few years back, maybe about 10 years back, I came to know that polo originated from India. So polo was born in Manipur, in northeast India, and it originated from there, and now it's a popular sport world over. And it's an exotic sport in the sense that both man and the horse play equal part in it. The sector has been developing of late. Initially we had a couple of institutes right from 60s. National Institute of Sports, Patiala was one, and there was a training college for physical education at Gwalior. And we had a small training school at Thiruvananthapuram for athletes and others. So from that situation now, through various efforts over the years, we have 9 regional centers of the Sports Authority of India, which possess very good infrastructure for training and as well as practice play. And we have another 61 training centers for athletes all over India, again managed by Sports Authority of India, in which there is a provision of hostels for boys and girls. And these centers especially cater to the rural kids. Kids from the rural area, they come and stay in those boarding schools because, or again, kids in rural area and in very disadvantaged sections of society, now to them sport is a reasonable career. It offers them a good window. It offers them some hope that they can do well in life if they have done well in a particular sport. So the situation has slightly turned around, I will say. It's just at a stage of takeoff, I will say. It's about to take off, if not taken off, we can say that. And in that, the efforts of federations, various federations, the government, because many of you will be surprised to know that government assists various sport federations annually to the tune of about 200 crore of rupees. Many federations get more than 10 crores of the assistance every year. So, and this assistance is channelized through the Sports Authority of India because they provide them some coaches, top coaches and all, and some equipment which is sometimes costly and imported, that's also made available through Sports Authority of India. We have also been now engaging foreign coaches, and there are currently, for the preparations of Rio teams, there are about 27 foreign coaches that we have employed at a very respectable salary and wages, which are not available generally to other professionals in India, because these coaches are valuable. They are well known for their technique, for the way they turn out a sport person, the way they groom a sport person. So it's an investment worth making it. On the preparation of Rio Olympics, Department of Sports has invested in the last 1 year about 120 crores. You can say roughly now the team that has qualified, the Rio team that will be going is 100. We have crossed the mark of 100. Some more qualifications are to take place in shooting, boxing and some other one more discipline. So by 5th July all qualifications should be over, and by that time we hope we kept a target of 110 to go. I'm sure 105 or 106 will go. So we are very close to the target that ministry kept for itself. And if we just average out this amount, then we have spread out around 1 crore per athlete on preparation for the Rio Olympics. It's just an average figure. Some athlete might be getting very less, some may be getting more, depending upon certain sport like shooting. They are very costly sport. They require a lot of ammunition, a lot of equipment. So players in those sports, they get much more assistance. And some star players, of course, like Saina Nehwal or Sania Mirza, they get also much more assistance. So it varies from sport to sport and player to player, but abroad we can say that 120 crore and 105 sport persons. So it's an average of more than a crore. So We have been liberal in sending them abroad also at the venues where a particular sport is recognized, that training academy is recognized. So we have had about 12 to 15 foreign camps going on before preparation of Rio. So let's keep our fingers crossed and blessed that we get a good haul of medals at Rio. It depends on how your competitors have also prepared, not only how you have prepared. We might have done our preparation well, but how others have prepared, we don't know. So we will know when we meet in Rio. So we leave that to the best, let the best man win. And I would like to say this only, that it's a sector with so many leagues coming up now, whether Kabaddi League, Soccer League, Super League. So sport is a sector which is developing fast, and the economic aspect of the sports sector is that it is about $2 billion kind of industry, which is going to become $10 billion in the next 6-7 years. So it's a very good growth that is being projected for the sector. And with that, I leave the house open and we will discuss as we sit, and some questions are raised. Thank you.
Interesting thing that the government is doing so many things. So I want to know that what more are you intending to do? Not only keeping Rio in mind, but say for instance, improving talent hunt at the grassroots level.
Well, in this, I'm happy to tell you that football is our focus, soccer. India is hosting FIFA Under-17 World Cup 2017, and Honorable Prime Minister in his Mann Ki Baat program spoke about creating a buzz of football in the country on the occasion, especially targeting the school students. So we have drawn up in association with FIFA a very large-sized program to target school kids, in which we will be targeting jointly 11 million kids. It is called Mission 11 Million.
That sounds quite interesting. So, but what of the non-football games? What of, say, individual games, like for instance, this case comes to my mind a lot. Shiva Keshavan, for instance, is a 5-time Olympian. He's a luger, I hope I've got it right, but it's not a well-known sport. At the same time, you have Rajkumar Tiwari, India's first Special Olympics gold medalist in figure skating. Both have raised the issue that there isn't enough support coming to them in terms of funding and sponsorship. So Keshavan has resorted to crowdfunding, something which we've not heard a sports person do, and Rajkumar Tiwari doesn't really have much hope. So how do we tackle, say, individual sports? How would the government try to bridge that gap and help these guys out?
Government doesn't reach to individual sport persons directly generally. So it has to be through some federation or some organization which is engaged in promotion of that sport. Sometimes when it comes to the notice, then even individual sport persons can be taken care of. I'm not saying that it's just out of question. I think that is the case. And in case of Keshavan or Tiwari also, we will say that the same approach we will adopt. And I think we have been, I don't exactly remember, but I get a sort of rough idea that Keshavan has been perhaps assisted, but about Tiwari I am not so sure whether he has received the assistance or not. But from the side, from the point of the view of the ministry or the department, we have to think about 120 crore people, and out of that if 65 crore are young or 70 crore are young, then we have to think of 70 crore. And our policies and programs will be at grassroots level, hitting at grassroots level, at schools, at colleges, at universities. So we are now going to place much more focus on national school games to create a competitive spirit at the school level, and also at the inter-university games, because this is the logical step which every sporting country like US, Germany, Australia, UK, they have followed. And it's a proven way that you pick up from the talent from the school, you provide the facilities in the schools, then you take them to the university. All universities which have great facilities, so they hone their skills in the university, and then they turn out to be Olympians and world champions and whatever you have.
Right. So integrate sports into school.
Into the education system itself.
Sure. Encourage kids to look beyond books and also have a wholesome human development as well. So what you correctly said, and I'm sure a lot of us feel this here, is that whenever something goes wrong, we always blame the government. We say that, or you know, why didn't you do even more? Maybe you already are, your finances could be stretched, but that is perhaps where, say, corporates and private companies come. Happy to have one of our panelists, Mr. B.K. Mahendru, who I'd like to bring in here. Sir here heads ONGC's Corporate Sports Division, and just a brief background, in 2014, I believe ONGC won the Rashtriya Khel Protsahan Puraskar from the President, which in itself is quite a commendable thing. So I'd like to ask you that, you know, your company, for instance, is already involved in encouraging sports. What more can corporates do? How can private players work with the government and help out, reach out to more and more grassroots athletes and sports persons, not just cricket and...
Yeah, thank you for bringing this topic. In fact, I really wanted to speak on this topic, how corporates can pitch in. I think, yes, government has been doing this bit, you know, and funding for sports also has been increasing from the government side, but I think we look at the government for everything, you know. We say that infrastructure should also be given by the government, players, sport to the players should also be given by the government. There's one way how the corporates can be brought into this, you know, and that is 2% of CSR. 2% of profit has to be spent on CSR, which is the government norm. But sports is also covered in that CSR, but unfortunately, within the 2%, no percentage is fixed for sports alone. I think through Secretary Sports, I will pass on my request to the Government of India that within the 2% also some percentage should be fixed for exclusively for sports. Now what's happening is companies like very big companies like say NTPC and quite a few big other names, they have a lot of passion for the sports, but they don't have their own recruited sports persons. So they feel fine, since we don't have our own sports sense, so why do we spend money on sports here? And all this money which is meant for CSR, which comes in crores after we, ONGC spends about 1,000 crore in CSR. I'm sorry to say this, but a lot of this money is taken away by dealers for spending in their own constituencies, you know, for doing various welfare measures. And nobody gives any importance to the sports. So in case some percentage can be fixed, as I said before, I think it is going to help the sports fraternity in a long way, in creation of infrastructure, or maybe in identification of talent, and maybe those children or small little ones can be adopted by some of the companies saying that we'll take care of all their expenses right till they're groomed as international players. You know, this is something which we are going to bring in ONGC, and I'm also secretary of already a public sector sports promotion board, and this is one of my next agenda point in my meeting, that even those companies who don't want to recruit the sports persons, at least they should earmark some funds for these kind of sporting activities.
Can be earmarked for something like sports?
I
mean, since we already pay so much on Swachh Bharat, I mean, service tax, you know, there is a success on that. So, is something like this possible?
Too much earmarking is not very practical or feasible. 2% has been earmarked. Now, items have been listed out, and there has to be a kind of momentum generated, you know, and that momentum will take care that out of 2%, maybe even 1% is spent on sport. So it will be like that. So if you actually earmark something, then you are putting a cap. We don't want to put a cap, because I see a very bright future for sports, because young people, if you see when they watch TV, how much time they watch the main news and how much time they watch the sports. So if you analyze that time spent, then itself it becomes clear that for a country which is young, sport is the paying proposition for the corporate sector. Actually, you are getting the attention of people. If you put your CSR money or your sponsorship money into that. And that is what a marketing man, every marketing man knows, that ultimately what counts is the attention. Attention of the customers, attention of the people. That is all it takes, for a company which is directly selling to the people. I'm not talking of B2B company business models in which we are selling to another company. Then in that case, to company affairs ministry, that the training and promotion, both aspects of the sport, should be covered in CSR and in a big way. So right now, what is there? The provision says only for training actually. So it limits the CSR investment into sports because training is a limited aspect of the sports. So both training and promotion need to be covered. That we have already taken up with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs.
Wow, this is quite a news point actually. I don't think very many people know about the fact that the Ministry of Sports has already written to the Company Affairs Ministry asking that training and promotion needs to be covered. So that I think is a positive step. So moving on from the government side, and we got the corporate side. Before I come to Siddharth, I have a young man here, Amit Kumar Dahiya. He's a wrestler. I'm sure many people would know about him. With just a brief background, Amit was born in Sonipat, Haryana. Of course, Haryana has several wrestlers coming in, wrestlers, boxers. It's a blessed state for sports people. Amit attended the 2012 London Olympics. He was the youngest among the Indian contingent. 2014 Commonwealth Games, he won gold in the 57 kg category. 2013 Asian Wrestling Championships, he won gold again. 2013 again he won silver, and 2012 he won bronze. Sorry that I went back a little, but we are a very accomplished wrestler here. और मुझे अमित आपसे पूछना है कि हम अभी बात कर रहे हैं कि क्या कर सकते हैं हम ग्रासरूट्स लेवल एथलीट्स को और इनकरेज करने, क्या हम उनको अमेनिटीज या फैसिलिटीज या हेल्प दे सकते हैं. आप अपने पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस से आगे अगर हमारे साथ शेयर करें कि आपका जर्नी कैसा रहा.
देखिए, हमारे गांव में पहले कुश्ती करते हैं, अखाड़े गांव में ज़्यादा जोर और गिरों का नहीं है, क्योंकि रेसलिंग का ही ज़्यादा जोर है. तो मैं तो रेसलिंग का इसलिए, क्योंकि मैं जब 5वीं 6ठी क्लास में ही था जब भी रेसलिंग स्टार्ट करती थी, क्योंकि ज़्यादा जोर रेसलिंग का ही था. तो मैं जब से ही रेसलिंग कर रहा हूँ. और मैं ये चाहता हूँ स्कूलों में गेम नहीं होते हैं, खासकर हरियाणा में नहीं होते हैं. दिल्ली में आने के बाद तो लगभग हो जाते हैं, लेकिन हरियाणा में गेम नहीं होते हैं. तो मैं चाहता हूँ हर एक स्कूल में कोई ना कोई खेल हो. पूरे खेल नहीं हो तो 3-4 खेल तो ऐसे हों कि प्रॉपर किस स्कूल में कराए जाएँ. उस स्कूल लेवल से जब आदमी ऊपर आगे उठता है तो फिर ओलंपिक लेवल की सोचता है.
Let me give you statistics. The 10th five-year plan, which is 2002-2007, the allocation for sports was 1145. That's 1,145 crores. 10th five-year plan, that has increased to 4,636 crores. But look at something like this: scheme of grounds for creation of sports infrastructure, including rural schools, languishes at around 94.2 crores. I know that is a substantial amount of money, but perhaps not enough. Sir, is this something that I'm sure you've also been pushing for more allocation to sports?
Yes, I will agree with that. That with a large population and 25 crore students in schools, we need to put in more resources. And because we have been short of resources, therefore the pace of growth has been slower. To that extent, I would agree with you. State basically in the government set up with a state subject, and state governments are supposed to provide the infrastructure for the sport. But it varies from state to state a lot. There are large states with large population who are spending peanuts only on this sector, and there are smaller states with much less population who are spending 100 times more than that large state.
I must call you out on this. Please tell us which are the good states and which are being the naughty ones. Please, at least tell us the ones who are.
It's a question of. I will cite the case of 2 states who have done it successfully. But in one case, it has been a real all-out. They have gone all out to create a sporting culture in the state. A state which was not on the sport map earlier is now on the sporting map, and that is Gujarat, because earlier it was not known as a sporting state. And over last 7, 8, 10 years, they have invested the money, and you can imagine the money that they are investing by this, that their budget allocation for the state Department of Sports in Gujarat is about 1/4 of the Government of India budget on the sector of sports. So they are really putting in big money compared to other states, and they are trying to create a sporting culture in a state which was supposed to follow sedentary lifestyle. So they have a large public competition which is called Khel Mahakumbh. They organize every year, in which different age groups are there, and there is an age group for 70 years and above competition. They have a competition for even 70-year-old people and above. They have a competition for 55 years and above. So like that. So they are trying to create a sporting culture. They are not simply identifying talent by that competition. It's an effort in creating a sporting culture among the people who were not given to sports earlier. Then we have Haryana, which is a state given to sports earlier. Punjab, which is a state given to sports. They are also spending reasonably good amounts, and they have the infrastructure in position. But a state which has strategically leveraged less amount of money, but very strategically, I will call Madhya Pradesh. They have set up some academies, about more than 10, which have been set up with not much investment, because they followed the model that whatever existing infrastructure, you set up academy there itself. Use that infrastructure and don't start creating a building, a campus first. First start producing sport persons, then create the campus. So they have followed this model, and they have successfully followed it. And the number of medals that they were earlier winning in the national games has suddenly jumped after they set up these academies, and players of their academies, and they are also not very state-minded in this academy. They are admitting even brilliant sport persons from outside the state also in these academies, so that the level of competition goes up. So there are students from northeastern states studying in these MP state academies of various sports. So they are targeting like that if we increase the level of competition in the academy, then other students will benefit, and eventually they will benefit. So it's a very strategic approach that they have followed. So these are the 2 states that immediately come to my mind.
We're also joined in by Shweta Chaudhary. Shweta is a shooter. Her specialty is the 10-meter air pistol and 25-meter sports pistol. Shweta won gold in 10-meter air pistol in 2016 South Asian Games, and also gold in 10-meter air pistol team category. And Shweta is from Haryana. So thank you so much for joining us. She was delayed in traffic, but tell me a little bit about how which is the same question which I asked Amit, how your experience has been, your journey as a sports person. How could things have been better, or were they really good for you anyway?
When I started, like 18 years back, shooting was not very popular. It just became known by people around 2004 and 8. At that time, the infrastructure, machines, and all those that we used to have at the shooting range were very old. And the weapons, the main thing that we have for the shooting, were kind of old guns that I started with. And then ammunition was a big problem for me. So when I started, it was really difficult. My father used to get the old paper targets, the ones that people were using, and they just threw them. He used to collect them and then patch them and then make them kind of fresh, so that we could, me and my brother, we could again use them. So for me, the 18-year journey was really long. I did not have enough sources to provide the weapons or ammunition, and at that time the import procedure and all for the guns and all was very long. Like to get just one gun, it would take about 1.5 years. So, and now when we compare, like after 15 years or so, things have become really smooth, especially for shooting. We are getting a lot of support from government. Corporates have come up. But still, for the grassroots level, I feel in India, a shooter, the shooters who are already, who have already reached a good level, like they are already participated in Olympics or they have won the medals, they need to, start coaching those players who are just the budding shooters. That will benefit the grassroots a lot. Even I sometimes try to take out some time from my training and help those shooters who are new.
Mentor them.
Yes. And because guns are something which need, technical, they are very technical. So everyone is not, everyone doesn't know like what you really need to do that. To correct something, any problem in a gun or whatever. So I help them myself, and even I feel in next 4 or 5 years, when I have some time out of my game, then I would like to set up a small academy to help the shooter, the budding shooter, who wants to go to a certain level, not just come and go. I want I want players to go to the level of Olympics and reach that level, not just coming to the shooting range and going and just spending time there.
Something that has happened with tennis, for instance. You have senior players who come in and at least set up academies, and so somewhere where the athletes and sports persons themselves are involved in honing the talent at the grassroots. That's a very good suggestion. Not to mention that the sociological impact of bringing in more children into sports. I mean, there are a lot of children who perhaps need encouragement. They want to have a positive influence in life. Many of them go down the wrong road. There's violence, there's drugs. I mean, the list of bad things in this world just keeps increasing. So sports, the sociological impact, that is also something which
it is big. Today we have felicitated few kids. 4 of them are from Mahendru Katila. And Mahendru Katila, we all know how we know Mahendru Katila in Delhi, right? It's a very, very small center. I don't think the park is bigger than, maybe it's twice the size of this hall. मेरे ख्याल से ये hall के 2 गुना है वो जहाँ पे खेलते हैं आप लोग Mahendru Katila में. वहाँ से 4 बच्चे इंडिया खेल रहे हैं. They're representing India. That's not a joke. So facilities. So we work on the same philosophy. You had to engage the kids, you had to give them opportunity. And yes, we could sustain because as states we were in Delhi. Delhi was not very big. We did not need a lot of money. And yes, opportunity was there, SAI was there, there were government schemes. What we did not play God. We just played, mediators. We understood the opportunity. We picked up the kids. We made sure that they played the right, places. We got a donor like UFlex who came from nowhere. We said, okay, we'll fund whatever you need.
Right.
And
so doable things.
It is a doable thing anywhere. I mean, you've got kids in states from Jharkhand who are representing India. You've got kids from Buradi who are representing India. You've got kids from UP. Probably one of the. It's a small district in UP from where kids are playing for the country. So, आप जहाँ भी मौका दे दोगे youth को, youth तो कर ही देगा. आपको उनको parasite नहीं बनाना है. आप उनको opportunity देंगे. तो मुझे लगता है कि see, India is thriving on the youth population. You don't need to make them dependent on you. You need to give them stairs so that they can climb up. And that's what we are doing, and that's exactly what we expect from government and all the stakeholders to do.
Yeah. Good. Sir, your closing remarks before if there's anything you would like to add or
regarding the skilling and how to create employment and the skills through the sports sector. Like as I said, that there's a growing health consciousness in urban India, and we are seeing a mushrooming growth of gyms, but certified gym instructors are not there. Somebody is just engaged like that. He's more of a kind of chowkidar cum manager of the gym, and he is unable to guide the people who come there, and people injure themselves while doing the gym exercises. So now, sensing this thing under PM's Skill India program, we have decided to, earlier we were doing only 6-month certificate course at the National Institute of Sports, Patiala. So we have thought that for a gym instructor that is not required, but employment opportunity is there. So we can have a 2-month course, just a gym certificate instructor. He will learn how to handle the gym equipment and he can be employed. So things like that are being devised with a view to create employment and to tap the employment opportunities that are emerging in the sports sector. Similarly, this is an example of gym. There are other sectors also, in swimming also. Swimming pools are coming across the country, but we don't have proper trained lifeguards and trained, attendants there at the swimming pool who can save a person's life if something happens. So that much, it's a minimum training capsule you require, 2 months, 3 months, and then you give a certificate and the person is employable.